सदात्मिकां दुर्विभाव्यं पराभाव्य स्वरूपेण अवतिष्ठते तस्मादिमां स्वां प्रकृतिं देवीं सदसदात्मिकां दुर्विभाव्यां पराभाव्या स्वरूपेण अवतिष्ठते Synonyms Tasmat, thus, Imam, this, Swam, own, Prakritim, material energy, Devim, divine, Sat Asat Atmikam, consisting of cause and effect, Durvibhavyam, difficult to understand, Parabhavya, of conquering, Swarupena, in the self realized position, Avatishtate, he remains. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Thus, the yogi can be in the self-realized position after conquering the insurmountable spell of Maya, who presents herself as both the cause and effect of this material manifestation and is therefore very difficult to understand. Purport. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that the spell of Maya, which covers the knowledge of living entity, is insurmountable. However, one who surrenders unto Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can conquer this seemingly insurmountable spell of Maya. Here also it is stated that the Daivi Prakriti, or the external energy of the Supreme Lord, is Dhurvibhavya, very difficult to understand and very difficult to conquer. One must, however, conquer this insurmountable spell of Maya, and this is possible by the grace of the Lord. When God reveals himself to the surrendered soul, it is also stated here, Swarupena Avatishtate. Swarupa means that one has to know that he is not the Supreme Soul, but rather part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. That is self-realization. To think falsely that one is the Supreme Soul and that one is all-pervading is not Swarupa. This is not self-realization of his actual position. The real position is that one is part and parcel. It is recommended here that one remain in that position of actual self-realization. In Bhagavad Gita, this understanding is defined as Brahman or Brahman realization. After Brahman realization, one can engage in activities of Brahman. As long as one is not self-realized, he engages in activities based on false identification with the body. When one is situated in his real self, then the activities of Brahman realization begin. The Mayavadi philosophers say that after Brahman realization, all activities stop, but that is not actually so. If the soul is so active in its abnormal condition, existing under the covering of matter, how can one deny its activity when free? An example may be cited here. If a man is if a man in a diseased condition is very active, how can one imagine that when he is free from the disease, he will be inactive? Naturally, the conclusion is that when one is free from all disease, his activities are pure. It may be said that the activities of Brahman realization are different from those of conditional life, but that does not stop activity. This is indicated in Bhagavad Gita 1854. After one realizes oneself to be Brahman, devotional service begins. Mad bhaktim lavate param. After Brahman realization, one can engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, devotional service of the Lord is activity in Brahman realization. For those who engage in devotional service, there is no spell of Maya, and their situation is all perfect. The duty of the living entity as a part and parcel of the whole is to render devotional service to the whole. That is ultimate perfection of life. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 28th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Kapila's Instructions on the Execution of Devotional Service. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So this is a concluding verse of this chapter 28. Um, oh, beautiful chapter, uh, indeed, with lots of realizations, uh, especially the part where um, dhyana, when Kapila Dev was explaining this chapter, this chapter has is basically the details of the process on how to follow the Ashtanga Yoga, right? And Kapiladev, Lord Kapiladev has explained to his mother different limbs of this Ashtanga Yoga: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. And while he was explaining about the Dhyana portion, he talks beautiful, like he mentions beautiful verses on how we can memorize and take the darshan of the Lord, or have imagination or the meditation of the Lord in ourselves, or we can memorize the verses, or at least follow the verses, follow the process he has given in these verses. So those verses are worth memorizing. um, so finally, this last verse is concluding verse of this chapter. So if you see in this section, the last few verses, especially the 39th verse, Kapila Dev is mentioning that how the material body is different from soul, right? If you can go, yeah, I mean, yeah, how the material body is different from soul, and the analogy is given in that verse is that as a person is different from his son and wealth, right? Even though we are so much attached to our family members and to the body, or to the wealth, to the wealth. Similarly, the soul is different from the body. The soul has a body when it comes down to the material world. Similarly, but the soul is completely different, right? That's the analogy given. And in the verses 40 and 41, how Lord is different from Jiva with senses and consciousness. Jivas are full of senses, and Jiva comes down and it is covered with the body and senses and consciousness, right? So, but the Lord is different. So he's giving the differentiations here, right? The analogies given there was like of fire. When we see the fire may come up with its elements. Like fire will have its own sparks and smoke and other kinds of material when the fire is happening. But the fire itself is different from those elements. Like there may be when the fire comes, right, we have wood, sparks, and other things, but fire is different from them. Similarly, even though Bhagwan, the super soul, is living in the with the jiva, but the super soul is completely different from the jiva, its elements, like five elements, senses, and other elements. And in 42nd verse, it says that a self-realized yogi should see the super soul in all beings. That's where he mentions about Brahma Bhuta position, or the self-realization or self-realized position um, of a yogi who meditates upon the Lord. Okay. Now, in the verse before, 43rd verse, Lord speaks about super soul or jiva manifest in different bodies, right? As the example or analogy provided in that verse is uh, fire from different woods will have different colors or um, different qualities. For example, if you take a fire from a pine wood, it just burns right away. Like if you want to start a fire, um, just put the pine wood or pine cones, and it just catches the fire right away. If you use a paper to burn, the fire will catch right away. But if you take the wood and a wet wood or the moist wood, the fire will catch up, but it will take time, right? Similarly, there are like that. There are multiple variations of the fire from different woods or different material which we try to produce the fire from, right? Similarly, there are different types of body, but the soul is same, and the soul will be there in different types of bodies. Like fire is same, it's the same fire, but from the different material which we used to get the fire may be different. Similarly, the soul uh, is same, and soul is present in each and every uh, living entity, but the types of the bodies which are different. Okay. So that being said, then let's come back to this verse. Tasmad imam swam prakritim. So tasmad does. So what is does? Does means so. He's saying so. Does we have seen all these verses, all these we have gone through all these verses. All the knowledge he gave, he talked about everything, all the Ashtanga yoga, and this is he talked about all these last few verses about the samadhi stage. Okay. And he's concluding with thus here. He's Kapiladev Lord Kapiladev is concluding this verse with thus. Imam is yogi. So what should he do? What happens with him? Thus Imam, this yogi swarupena avatishtate. So swarupena avatishtate. This yogi will be um, situated in the self-realized position. So for this yogi to situate in the self-realization, what should happen is given in this two and a half verses, two and a half lines of this verse. Okay. Tasmadimam Swarupena Avatishtate. This yogi can be self-realized or situate in his own position or self-realized position. How? Is Parabhavya. He has to conquer. How can he conquer? What should he conquer? Prakritim. Prakritim is material nature. Okay, he has to conquer the material nature. And what is Prakriti is explained here. Devim Sadasad Atmikam Durvibhavyam. Devim, Prakriti is a nature, and she's Daivim is she's divine. Sad Asad Atmikam, she has cause and effect. Whatever happens in this material creation is all on the basis of cause and effect, right? And Dhurvipabhyam, insurmountable. It's very, very hard to understand. And also, unless you understand how, like, it's very hard to come out. But to come out, you have to understand what she is. So it's very, very hard to understand her. So that is what is Dhurvibhavyam. So this yogi will have to will get situated or remains in a self-realized position um, after conquering or after getting over the insurmountable material nature. So this is the conclusion Lord Kapila is giving in this verse, in this concluding verse of this uh, chapter. So now let's focus on few things here. Sad Asad Atmakam Atmikam. So let's understand this little bit here, right? Sad Asad Atmika means cause and effect, consisting of, Srila Prabhupada translates as consisting of cause and effect. So this whole universe, um, not only this universe, the whole the cosmic manifestation and the creation of this material world is all about cause and effect, right? So in this case, because we're talking about material nature, if we see this material nature is of cause and effect. Okay, so how do you say it's cause and effect? Um, this material nature is cause and effect. How do we say this is cause and effect? So the Srila Prabhupada explains in Canto 2, Chapter 5, text 26 and 29. One of the purpose he explains that the whole purpose of the whole process of creation is an act of gradual evolution and development from one element to another, reaching up to the variegatedness of the earth. As so many trees, plants, mountains, rivers, reptiles, birds, animals, and varieties of human beings. The quality of sense perception is also evolutionary, namely generated from sound, then touch, and from touch to form. Taste and odor are also generated along with gradual development of sky, air, fire, water, and earth. They're all mutually the cause and effect of one another, but the original cause is Lord Himself in planetary portion as Mahavishnu, lying in causal water of the Mahatattva. So we see, as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, this whole creation is of cause and effect. So one thing happens, and from that there is an effect of it, and we get another product out of it. From that product, another product will develop. From that like derived product, we'll get another product. So what are the examples Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here? He says that the whole process of creation is an act of gradual evolution and development from one element to another element, right? So what are those elements Prabhupada mentions? He says that there is reaching up to the, so this process goes on so much so that it reaches to the variegatedness of earth, as so many trees, plants, mountains, rivers. We see so many different things, different things. So this all happened from one source, right, in the beginning, if you remember. So it all happens from one source, but from one to another, it keeps growing and expanding. So this is a cause and effect of this material world. So this material prakriti is of nature of cause and effect. So when we see here, um, material sad asad atmikam. So sad asad atmikam means she is of cause and effect in there. Okay. Example we can take, just it's not an, it's an analogy right now. If we to just understand is better. The formation of rain. Remember yesterday it was raining, and this it is going to rain multiple days in this week. So let's talk about how the rain forms. Right. We learned in the science that the water bodies, the huge water bodies on this earth, the water from these water bodies get evaporated, right? This is the effect. They're getting evaporated. What is the cause of it? Cause is the sun or sun's heat. When the sun is shining on the sky, because of the sun's heat, the effect of the sun is one of the effects of the sun is heat. That's the heat can evaporate the waters from the water bodies, right? That is the effect. The cause of that effect is sun's heat. So this evaporated water will form a cloud and goes to, sorry, it raises to the upper atmospheres, and it becomes cold. Okay. And the evaporated water rises into the upper atmosphere and cools. So the cool temperatures cause water vapor to condense into water droplets. So that what is the what is the effect is that evaporated water turns into evaporated water turns into water drops. So what is the cause of it? The cool temperature in that layer, in the upper layers, right? So like that, and that water like when the which forms clouds, and the clouds will travel, and it'll rain back again. So I hope you understand the cause and effect here. So similarly in the material creation, we have cause and effect for each and everything, and it expands into so much of variegatedness. Whatever we see is formed from like some, there will be some cause and there will be an effect. So that is the nature of this material world. That's what we want to, that's the highlight of this verse. But one thing we have to notice here is that the whatever the cause and effect this material world may have, or whatever the cause and effect we see might be happening, right? So we are limited to this only. Let's say in our example, if when we say the scientists may say that the cause of the rain is sun's heat. Okay. But an intelligent person will think, what is the cause of the sun's heat? How is the sun getting that heat? Then there may be some people who can argue that yeah, sun has some helium, and an enormous amount of helium which is getting depleted and all those things. But who is the source of that helium, right? oh no, there may be ions and some kind of chemical combination which gets the helium, but who is providing that chemicals? So if you go back in that process, in that inquisitive process, inquisitively, if you go back and understand the source of everything is aham sarvasya prabhavo mattas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So that is what Shri Krishna says. So the original primeval cause is Vigraha, right? Sorry, the complete cosmic situation, both in the material and in the spiritual manifestations of the energies of the Lord, is working and moving first as a cause and then as effect. But the original cause is the supreme personality of Godhead. Right? Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. That's what Sri Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. So, effects of the original cause become the causes of other effects, and thus everything, either permanent or temporary, is working as cause and effect. And because the Lord is the primeval cause of all persons and all energies, He is called the cause of all causes, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita. Sarva Karana Karanam, that verse, right? Ishwarah Paramakrishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadhiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the reason of all reasons. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is a supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. Right? So that's how, even though Sad Asad, the material energy or material nature is of Sad Asad nature. What is Sadachar? Sad means there is this material nature, you'll see it's all cause and effect. But the cause of all causes, or the origin of all origins, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's what we take from this word. And let's move in. Durvibhavyam. Durvibhavyam means difficult to understand. Material world is difficult to understand or insurmountable. Why? What is the reason for that material nature being insurmountable? If you think about that, it's because material nature is an external energy of the Lord Himself. Material energy is not something which is produced in this material world. Material nature is external energy of the Lord. So if Lord is powerful, Lord's energy should also be powerful, right? It's very hard to understand here or the activities. Someone may question why this is happening to me. What kind of mistake I have done? Or if I remember correctly, I have never made any sin. Why should I go through this pain or this misery currently? We question, there will be so many whys, there will be so many hows. But the point is, it is very hard to understand. Why is it very hard to understand? Because we are limited. We don't have that much of knowledge. We don't know what we ate yesterday, what we ate in the breakfast yesterday. We have to think for it. We have to think, this is what we have done, and we still forgot just yesterday. So, how can we understand about the whole creation or what happened in our previous lives, what we have done? We don't even have the memory of that, right? So, that's why it says Durvibhavyam. It's insurmountable. It's very hard to understand the nature of to understand the material nature, because she's the energy of the Lord, external energy of the Lord. Right? Think about it. We are limited, and material energy is unlimited, and she's the external energy of the Lord. So that's why it's Dhurvi Bhavyam. But there is a hope. We can't understand. But what we have to do? Parabhavya. We have to understand. We have to get out of it. Parabhavya. We have to conquer that. How do you conquer Maya, the external energy of the Lord? Right? It's easy because If you see here, it's easy in the sense like it's easy to understand. If she is the external energy of the Lord, then let's pray to the Lord, right? Let's surrender to the Lord. When we surrender to the Lord, then the external energy will be like, for example, Srila Prabhupada gave this example, right? If let's say if you visit one of your friend's house, that friend has a dog in his house. Okay, I went to our Bhakti Ratnakar Prabhu's home, and the moment I rang the bell, the first thing I saw was his dog barking at me and trying to attack me, but the door was closed, so it was okay. Then Prabhuji came and he said something, and the dog was quiet. Super nice, no problem. And I could go inside, I sat, I spoke for an hour, no problem. Dog, there is no problem or there is no disturbance from the dog, right? Because Bhakti Ratnakar Prabhu is the owner of the dog, and owner can guide and indicate and subdue that his dog or his energy or anything like that. Similarly, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sorry, when the Maya is the when the Maya is the external energy of the Lord, this God can just do some sign. Hey, that's okay. He's my devotee. Just one sign, and that's it. Maya will not affect you, and you will be out of it. That is what um, that is what Kapila Devi is saying here. He's saying that uh, material world is divine. She is auspicious. She is divine because she is the external energy of the Lord. She is cause and effect of this material creation, and she is impossible, kind of impossible. Dhurvi bhavam, it's insurmountable to conquer. But we have to conquer. Parabhavya, but we have to conquer. What will happen after all this? Then you can stay in the self-realized position. Svarupena avatistate. You can remain in that self-realized position. Now the question comes in, what is self-realized position? Mayavadis, their self-realized position is just going in there and stay in the Brahman. Just stay in there and do nothing. And there is no activity after you got self-realized. That is their process, and they'll settle in that um, Brahman realized position. But Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that that is not the case. You have to, when you're performing an activity, right, that activity should continue. And that activity, the self-realized position for a devotee is serving the Lord in whatever situation we are put into. Maybe you are in any situation, right? You have to serve the Lord. The activity of serving the Lord or activity of surrender to the Lord should always continue. It should be there. Okay, that is the perfect self-realized position for us. And that's how this verse ends here. Okay, we'll go from next class, we'll go to the next chapter. And I'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Harikisha. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. We'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord. We'll dedicate these prayers today for His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who his Samadhi ceremony is going on in Vrindavan. If we get a chance, take darshan, last Bapu darshan of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Nrsingo, Jai Nrsingo, Jai Jai Nrsingo, Pradesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Lingam. उग्रवीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रमित्यमित्यं नमाम्यहं। नरसिंह भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu bhayaiva cha पतितानां पावने भयो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वैष्णववृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि 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 बोल।
Thank you, Hari Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. Hare
हरे
Bol.
कृष्ण।